How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. שבט אחים ואחיות שרק רוצים לחיות, להיות, להבות, התקוות בעיניים פתוחות, בידיים אוהבות ומקבלות, ובידיעה שכולנו משפחה, באמונה שתוכנו יש מקום גדול לאהבה. כשהמים זורמים הם אותנו מובילים, מרומים מצבעים, כי מה שלי הוא מה שלך זוהי דרך חדשה, כשהשמש עולה על כולנו מהירה. אז עוד שנייה, הנה זה בא, כמו הנשמה, נשמה, נשימה. הנה, 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 אני מבקש, כך ניתן מצב רוח לעלות ונתייאש. כשהשן עליי דוהר, בוער, אני לא מהר, לא סופר על העבר, מוותר, מרגיש את הרגע, פוגע במציאות, נוגע, שופע לא קורע, ותמיד יודע שאם לא נפחד, הראש יתחדד, לא ניפרד, נתאחד, כי מה שלי ומה שלך זוהי דרך חדשה, כשהשמש עולה על כולנו מהירה. אז עם הפחד בצד, שבט אחים ואחיות מאוחד. הנה, הנה, for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity.
Hine mato
כשמיים שבט אחים ואחיות שרק רוצים לחיות, להיות להבות, התקוות בעיניים פתוחות, בידיים אוהבות ומקבלות, ובידיעה שכולנו משפחה, באמונה שתוכנו יש מקום גדול לאהבה. כשהמים זורמים הם אותנו מובילים, מרומים מצבעים, כי אמא שלי ומה שחזוי דרך חדשה, כשהשמש עולה על כולנו מהירה. אז עוד שנייה, הנה זה בא, כמו הנשמה, נשמה, נשימה. אני מבקש, כך ניתן מצב רוח לעלות ונתייאש. כשהשן עליי דוהר, בוער, אני לא מהר, לא סופר על העבר, מוותר, מרגיש את הרגע, פוגע במציאות, נוגע, שופע לא גורע, ותמיד יודע שאם לא נפחד, הראש יתחדד, לא ניפרד, נתאחד, כי אמא שלי ומה שחזוי דרך חדשה, כשהשמש עולה על כולנו מהירה. אז עם הפחד בצד, שבט אחים ואחיות מאוחד. הנה, הנה,
is that it leaves us with pieces of Shabbat to take with us in the week to come. The sweetness of Shabbat, the smell of Shabbat, the warmth of Shabbat. All things that if we hold on to it throughout the week, we're able to prepare ourselves to rest once more. Havdalah literally means separation. It means distinction. And this is a time in which we are truly making a distinction from sacred time and sacred place to back to the profane. But as I said, we take pieces of Shabbat with us. And I choose to believe that because we take pieces of Shabbat with us, we also take pieces of that which is sacred with us as well. So as we gather together for Havdalah, I actually invite you to rise. And I want you to join us. This is very appropriate. This is Debbie's Havdalah, and it starts with words that I think you know: lie, lie, and lie. Lie, la 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 la, lie, 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 la 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 la, lie, lie, ya la lie, 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 ya la lie, lie, ya la lie, ya lie, la 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 la, lie, 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 la 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 la, lie, lie. Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Borei peri hagafen.
Borei peri hagafen.
Borei peri
hagafen. Lie, 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 la, 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 lie, lie, ya la, lie, 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 ya la, lie, lie, ya la, lie.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech Borei minei v'samim. Borei minei v'samim.
Borei minei v'samim. Lai la 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 lai 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 la 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 lai lai ya la lai 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 la ya la lai lai ya la lai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Borei me'orei ha'esh.
Re me'orei ha'esh. Borei me'orei ha'esh.
Ya 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 la 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 ya 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 la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la 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 ya la la Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavdil ben kodesh lechol hamavdil ben kodesh lechol ya 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 la 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 ya 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 la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya 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 la 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 ya 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 la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la 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 ya la la
Ahu hanavi Eliyahu hatishbi Eliyahu hagiladi Ira b'yameinu Yavo Eleinu Im Mashiach ben David Im Mashiach ben David.
There is another lyric that is sometimes added into this song. We sing Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu the prophet, and Miriam Haneviah, Miriam the prophetess. Miriam
Haneviah Oz vezimra beyada Miriam tirkod itanu letartein
zimrat
olam
Bimhera
Veyamenu Yavo Eleinu
Moshiach ben David
Mashiach
ben David
Eliyahu Hanavi Eliyahu Hatishbi Eliyahu
Hagiladi. You may be seated. On the first page of your handout, join with me if you know it. Lechi ilach to a land that I will show you. Lech lecha to a place you do not know. Lechi ilach on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi ilach. Lechi ilach. And I shall make your name great. Lech lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lechi a place that I will show you. L'simchat chaim, l'simchat chaim, l'simchat chaim, lechila. You shall be a blessing. 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 Lechila. You shall be a blessing. Whenever I hear these words, that iconic song written by Debbie Friedman, I think about how in so many ways her music is a blessing unto us and continues to be a blessing to each of us in our Jewish communities. And so that's what I want to gather here tonight to sort of explore together through her songs and through songs of folk she inspired, what I like to call the ripples of Debbie Friedman. I'm wondering if anyone here actually ever had a chance to see Debbie Friedman live, in concert, or where's the?
At the Biennial in 2003.
At the Biennial? Yep. Anyone else that ever had a chance to do so? In so many ways, Debbie was a concert artist, a worship leader, a teacher, and as someone who I truly feel gets to do what I get to do today as a woman playing guitar, leading communities in song, is something that Debbie paved the way for. And so we're going to just explore a little bit of the different themes and ways that she helped shape this path for so many of us and help shape the music that we sing in our congregations today. So we might ask ourselves, where did that journey for Debbie begin? In her own words, she says, "I started writing because I felt left out. I felt so alone sitting in services, the very place that should have cradled me and given me comfort and warmth. We were all strangers to one another, but we didn't have to be." Creating a way in to worship was central to Debbie's work. And the first song that she ever wrote, she wrote as a teenager, an English setting of Ve'ahavta, titled "And Thou Shalt Love." The words at that time came from the Union Prayer Book. Many of us probably remember using the Union Prayer Book. And so Debbie set this text to music, yet it was only after she introduced it to her friends, to her high school choir, and noticed the power that came from them singing it together, that she realized the profound meaning that could be found when we give new meaning and understanding to words that once felt foreign. Her songs, in many ways, inspired writers, composers, to think about how we can make music accessible to each and every one of us. Think about what these words truly mean. We'll join together. You shall love Adonai, your God, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you rise up, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and upon your hands, and they shall be for frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates, and upon your gates, that you will remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God. When we hear a song like that, and we think back to a time when folks weren't singing necessarily in congregations, when the primary instrument was not guitar, but when you would sit in services, what was a main instrument that you might have been hearing? An organ. An organ. And Judaism was much more of a observatory experience rather than a participatory one. And then Debbie brings a song like this into the movements, into camps, and it makes its way into congregations, and suddenly people will get to become a part of that experience. And so I want to share now another piece that was really inspired by Debbie's setting of Ve'ahavta and by her thinking about ways in which this Hebrew we can give new meaning to when we really think about what these words mean. And this is a piece that was written not too long ago in 2019 by a dear friend of mine and a cantor named Isaac Sanadasor. He asked himself those first words of Ve'ahavta, you shall love with all your heart, with all your soul, and all your might. And he asks this question, what does that mean? How might we do those things? What does it mean to love with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might? Did you want me just to memorize every letter, every word, every lesson I ever heard? Or did you want me to be better than the ones who came before and teach my children to be better than me? What does it mean to love with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might? When I think of those I love and what I try to give to them, I try to make their world a little bit brighter. And so I take these words you've taught me and I keep them in my heart. They guide me as I go on my way. I want to build a world the way that you've taught me. I want to build your world so that you might stay. I want to build a world that you would be proud of. I want to build your world day after day. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol livavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'otecha. I want to build a world the way that you've taught me. I want to build your world so that you might stay. I want to build a world that you would be proud of. I want to build your world day after day. In addition to giving new meaning to our texts, one of Debbie's superpowers, I like to think of, was that she explored so many different parts of Judaism and helped to bring in prayers that were foreign to our Reform movement. The prayer of Tefillat HaDerech, which is also known as the Traveler's Prayer, was traditionally an Orthodox prayer that was said to wish someone safety on a physical journey. But Debbie reimagined this blessing as a blessing for all of us who embark upon all of life's journeys, upon life cycle transitions, not just the physical journeys, but the emotional journeys that each of us take. And so this next piece has really come to be used in many different settings, much beyond wishing someone luck on a physical journey and safety, but blessing on retirement, on graduation, in so many different parts of our lives. So I invite you to sing along with me. May we be blessed as we go on our way. May we be guided in peace. May we be blessed with health and joy. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. May we be sheltered by the wings of peace. May we be kept in safety and in love. May grace and compassion find their way to every soul. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. That's one that this community is familiar with in many ways. Are there times in which you have sung that bring about a memory of singing it for a specific transition? You sing it in the choir. What was that?
I don't know why. Rabbi, why do we sing it in the choir? When do we sing it?
We've sung it as closing songs,
Okay.
especially during times where there are journeys that are going on.
Like people going to the mikveh, possibly?
That would be a place where we would do that, yes.
It's one of the only Tefillat HaDerech settings that I had heard of in the Reform movement, at least, until just a few years ago. Another wonderful artist who was a student of Debbie's, Alana Arian, and a teacher of mine as well, was commissioned to write a new setting of Tefillat HaDerech. And when she was beginning to think about what does this text mean to her, she had Debbie's setting to refer back to. And she says that, I realized in writing this that it serves a very important purpose in ritual and communal lives. What Debbie knew was that traditional Hebrew was not necessarily going to be in people's mouths, and so she created this English setting, and specifically that refrain, Amen, Amen, that word Amen, that we all can sing along to, that simply means, I am with you, I agree with you. So this next setting of Tefillah HaDerech, a newer setting, but inspired by Debbie's, shares some similar qualities, including that Amen refrain as a moment in which all can join in. And I want to teach this to you. It goes like this. Amen, Amen, Amen. And same thing. Amen, 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 Veimru, Amen, to Amen, Veimru, Amen. Here we go. Amen, Veimru, Amen, 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 Veimru, Amen. That's it, that's that whole chorus. Holy One of blessing, wrap us in perfect peace. Guide our steps steadily forward as we go on our way. Bless us with compassion as we walk new paths ahead. Bless us with strength for the journey, and we say Amen. 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 Veimru, Amen. May we be protected. May we be held and free. May we have patience and wisdom as we go on our way. And bless us with the knowing that we are never alone. Bless us with love for the journey, and we say Amen. 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 Veimru, Amen. Amen. Amen, 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 Veimru, amen. As you can hear how perhaps one setting influenced the other. Creating that place of welcoming and belonging was really core to Debbie's work. And much of that was due to her creative efforts at inclusivity and at her awareness of gender issues in Jewish life. she challenged the status quo in many ways, bringing in feminine conjugated Hebrew language like lechi lach, as opposed to lech lecha, or calling God Shekhinah, or saying bruchot habaot, meaning welcome to all people, using that conjugated Hebrew for the feminine, as opposed to bruchim habaim. Debbie tells a story that, are familiar with the song, not by might and not by power, but by spirit alone, Ruach, shall we all live in peace. The original lyric when she wrote that song was, shall all men live in peace, quoting the traditional text. And Debbie tells a story of one time sound checking at a concert and singing that song, and she sings that line, shall all men live in peace, and from the very back of the room, someone yells, you can't say all men, there's women here too. And Debbie says that was the moment when she really realized she needed to be thinking differently. If she wanted to really create that place of belonging for people, that translated to even the lyrics of the music that she's writing. Her friend Deborah Lipstadt wrote, in Debbie's Jewish world, women were not silent appendages. They journeyed with Abraham. They danced with Miriam. They were mothers in Israel who, like the biblical Devorah, fought for justice. By opening the gates of inclusion wider, Debbie strived to create that place of welcoming, belonging, and empowering so many women to take their place as worship leaders and in the community as well. I want to share with you now one of her, I think, most iconic songs, in which she highlights the story of Miriam. As we talked about last night, we're almost at that point in our Torah where we read that story of Miriam and the Israelites crossing the sea and dancing Miriam with her timbrel. Just a little line that gets in the Torah, and Debbie creates this whole beautiful song out of it. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. Well, Miriam was a weaver of unique variety. The tapestry she wove was one which sang our history. With every strand and every thread she crafted her delight. A woman touched with spirit, she danced towards the light. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. When Miriam stood upon the shore and gazed across the sea, the wonder of this miracle she soon came to believe. Whoever thought the sea would part with an outstretched hand, and we would pass to freedom and march to the promised land. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And Miriam the prophet took her timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her just as she had planned. And Miriam raised her voice and sang with praise and might, we've just lived through a miracle, we're gonna dance tonight. One more time. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. Yeah. It one fills you up. I remember growing up, we would get up and dance around the synagogue singing that as we sang the Micha Mocha prayer. It begs the question in many ways that if Debbie were still around today, what would she be thinking about as perhaps the next level of inclusion in our spaces? Now it feels almost commonplace that women are included, and both as rabbis and cantors, but also just in the congregation in general.
Well, I'm the woman who would shout from the balcony. You know, Drake's laughing because he knows. There are women here too. I think I shouted from the choir loft. You know, their sex, not their gender.
Yes, so in many ways, there's a lot of other levels of inclusion that now are in our world. And so I want to share with you a really interesting setting that comes to us from a cantor named Zevi Tovlev, a non-binary cantor who is really involved in something called the Non-Binary Hebrew Project, in which taking language that feels accessible to people of all genders. So this Hebrew that I'm going to share with you, this is a setting of the priestly blessing, the oldest blessing in our tradition. We know as, may God bless you and keep you, may God's light shine upon you, and may God bring you peace, is a rough translation of that. And this Hebrew is quite unfamiliar, but you'll see I bolded on your handout some of those words as we think about the ways in which our ancient words and blessings can help reflect the diversity that we find in all of our Jewish communities today. Yivarech etchem Adonai ve'yishmer etchem. Ya'er Adonai paneh elechem v'chunetkem. Yisrael Adonai paneh elechem ve'yaseh melechei shalom. May God bless you and protect you. May God's light shine upon you, and may God be gracious to you. May you feel God's presence within you always, and may you find peace. Yivarech etchem Adonai ve'yishmer etchem. Ya'er Adonai paneh elechem v'chunetkem. Yisrael Adonai paneh elechem ve'yaseh melechei shalom. And may you find peace. Debbie taught that our ability to both offer and receive blessings is something that each of us hold. It's not just something that you need to be a rabbi or a cantor to do, but we each have that ability to bless one another. And that served as the foundation for her Misha Berach prayer. Debbie knew that there was no one immune to the need for healing. And through her creation of healing services, which eventually gave way to including the Misha Berach as a part of our normal Shabbat and holiday services, she gave people that place to express a need for healing and to balance both the wholeness and the brokenness that we feel in each of our lives. Recognizing that healing itself is less about finding a cure and more about coming together in search of spiritual wholeness. Did anyone ever have a chance to attend a healing service? Whether it was really a thing that became popular sort of in the 80s and 90s. Say more about that, Rabbi.
Slichot was a healing service.
It's beautiful. And in many ways, that is something that Debbie brought to us. This idea of praying for healing was not really something that was done often in the Reform movement. But those healing services became so widespread throughout the country. And what Debbie did was that she showed up, and she never quite had a set plan. But she spoke to whatever happened, whatever she was feeling in the space and in the room. And there's a story of one time Debbie was on her way to lead a healing service at a congregation in New York, Westchester Reformed Temple. And she was running late. It was about 15 minutes before the service started. And the Rabbi Ken Chasen is his name, was waiting, and finally Debbie pulled up in her cab. She got out, she ran in, and she said, "I just wrote a song. Get your guitar, I just wrote a song." He said, "What do you mean you just wrote a song?" She said, "I just wrote this melody in the cab, and I think I want to sing it right now in this service." So Ken got his guitar, and they went into the service, and that entire service was really just these two lines sung over and over again. And Debbie looking each person in the eye and letting them feel what they needed to feel. She sang these words. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. Tears and joy, so much a part of who we are as a people. This morning, we shared a little bit about how being Jewish is balancing the bitter and the sweet, the darkness and the light. And Debbie's concept of healing really leaned into that. And so I want to invite us to turn the page, speaking of her setting of Mishaberach, to this little excerpt in which I just want to share because I think it's really powerful. Debbie wrote this about her Mishaberach prayer and the first time that it was ever sung. She writes, in October of 1987, 4 designated individuals took their places on the bima and opened a huge talit. All of those who were in need of healing were invited to come forward to gather under the talit. A mass exodus ensued, and there was no one left sitting in the congregation. 150 people huddled beneath the talits. This would be the first time I was to sing the Mishaberach publicly. We climbed inside each word and in between each line, looking to be enveloped and comforted, acknowledging our fragility and our brokenness. We knew that we were alone and yet not alone, that we were in a community, and however isolated we might have felt before this experience, we were now a part of something greater. There were tears, there was hope, and there was a long silence when we finished singing the Mishaberach. At that first singing, I recognized the power of these words. In the same way that reciting Al Chet on Yom Kippur helps us acknowledge the ways in which we've missed the mark, the Mishaberach gave us the words we needed to address our pain. The Mishaberach is a prayer for the individual and the community. It can be uttered amidst havoc or in calmness. It can be uttered aloud or in silence, in moments of joy and relief or in times of anguish and despair. There is room to be angry and still utter these words, affirming life and maintaining a connection to our ancestors who also felt anger. In these moments of reflection, we are forced to face whatever obstacles are in the way of our living fully. And while we know that full well that healing of the body may not be a possibility, we know that healing of the soul has infinite possibilities. There are times when we feel like we are in the midst of living a nightmare. We cannot imagine if anything will ever look right again. At some point, we must be willing to confront the pain, the enemy, and befriend it. That it become not only our teacher, but a teacher to all of those who are in our circle of life, our community. Jewish life was not meant for us to experience alone, not the joy and not the sorrow. For those in need of healing, for those afraid to ask, and for the many whom there is no one to ask, this is for you. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. I find this to be so beautiful. My favorite lyric, I think, of any Debbie Friedman song is that line, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. What a powerful line to put in a song of healing. But it really is that idea that looking to the strength of those who came before us can inspire strength in our time as well. This spoke to me in a couple of years back in the year of 2020, which we all know was a great year for all of us. I was thinking a lot about this idea of needing strength and needing healing in our communities, in our country, in our world. And I thought about this blessing that comes from our daily miracles that we say, blessed are you, God, hanotein le'ayif koach, who gives strength to the weary. And thinking about what Debbie said, this idea that our strength can be inspired by the strength of those who came before us. That God has helped our ancestors throughout years find that strength throughout every generation, throughout every moment in which it feels like we may be living in a nightmare. And so I want to share this setting with you. It's back one page now. This is called Hanotein Le'ayif Koach, who gives strength to the weary. And you'll also hear in this, there is a verse that is written in Hebrew, but I included the translation as well so that you can follow along with those words. We have come from the weary, come from the small. We have come from the ones who were challenged by it all. We have come from the shadows, bringing in the light. We have come from the ones who never once gave up the fight. And we are here, just as we'll always be, with faith through our fear. We look to the one who made us free. Hanotein le'ayif koach, notein le'ayif koach. אנחנו מעבדים שהלכו במדבר 40 שנים הם הלכו אפילו כשהיה אי אפשר כולנו עם אחד עם אומץ לב ואמונה באדוני או חזק חזק ונתחזק ועם ישראל חי ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם הנותן לאב כוח נותן לאב כוח הנותן לאב כוח From strength we will find strength Lidor Vador we praise your name and hold each other up like links in the chain through struggle and fear sorrow and pain Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitein Hanotein Le'av Koach Notein Le'av Koach Hanotein Le'av Koach From strength we will find strength From strength we will find strength From strength we will find strength Thank you. Debbie inspired so many settings of healing. In fact, there was a book that was published not long after she wrote her Mishaberach that was simply Mishaberachs, 12 different settings of that prayer that Debbie first brought into our consciousness and since then has inspired so many more settings of strength, of hope, of courage, and of healing. One of the most powerful lessons is that she taught us that through it all, we should never lose sight of the joy present in each of our lives, because that can never be taken from us. No matter what type of journey or challenge we are going through, there is always room, as she taught, and as our ancestors taught, to turn our mourning into dancing, and our darkness into light. All of it bringing us healing. You turn my mourning into dancing, so that my soul might sing to you, so that my soul sings to you, and it not be still. You turn my mourning into dancing, so that my soul might sing to you, so that my soul sings to you, and it not be still. Oh God, my God, forever I will thank you. Oh God, my God, forever I will thank you. Oh Dekah. Now I sing praises to the Holy One, who lifts me up when I have fallen. And I cry to you to heal me, and you have answered all my prayers. Oh God, my God, forever I will thank you. Oh God, my above all, Debbie was a teacher, teaching so many through each of her lessons, accessibility, inclusion, healing, and so much more. The song that we began this evening with, aside from our iconic Havdalah, that song of Lech Ilach, saying, and you shall be a blessing, and you shall be a blessing, was something that Debbie wanted us to truly embody in ourselves, to believe that each and every one of us is a blessing. And she teaches that those words of Lech Lecha actually mean, we often think of them as meaning go forth, right? The story saying that God called upon Abraham and said, Lech Lecha, go forth to a land that I will show you. But the real translation of those words, Lech Lecha or Lech Ilach, is go unto yourself. Go unto yourself. Debbie says that each and every one of us, at some point or another, has to go forth to make our lives and become all that we can be. And to go unto yourself does not simply mean to just go forth, to just follow a path forward, but to stay true to who we are, to embody each of our individual gifts and blessings in order to be a blessing unto the world. Because each and every one of us has that ability to have an impact, just as she did on so many. And so I want to conclude our time together this evening to share with you this setting called Go Unto Yourself that I wrote with Alana Arian, my teacher. The music is ours, but those words are Debbie's. They come from a beautiful teaching that really just embodies that exact phrase, go unto yourself. And my wish and my blessing, my prayer for each of us as we look into this week ahead, carrying the light of Shabbat and that light of Havdalah forward, is that no matter what challenges may lie up ahead, we know that each of us can be a blessing. Each and every one of us, at some point or another, has to go forth on this journey. Lech Ilach, and make our lives whole and become all that we can be. We will become all that we can be. Go unto yourself. Go unto yourself. Go unto yourself. Go unto yourself. And the more you come to realize all that you are and the power you hold to have an impact on the world, the more you come into you, you'll see the world start to change. You'll see the world start to change. Try with me. Go unto yourself. 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 yourself. Go unto yourself. A journey into ourselves, and a journey translating ourselves to the world, giving up what we are to the world. Go unto yourself. Go unto yourself. Go unto yourself. Go unto yourself. May it be so. Thank you.
So, Cantor, I think I can say that it's been truly a blessing and a gift for you to teach us and to pray with us and help us perhaps connect to the Jewish experience a little differently. One of the things that I hope that our congregation has received tonight is an understanding that when we do new things, it's only new to a point. And the reason why I say it's only new to a point is because it stems from something else that came before. And what Cantor Mann was able to do was show how Debbie's music transcends time. And when you listen to both Cantor Mann's pieces and the other pieces that she shared, we hear Debbie as well. So when we introduce those things here as our congregation, we're introducing them taking the legacy very seriously and treating it with honor to help us grow and connect and reconnect with our prayers, reconnect with our Judaism, find those sacred moments of coming together and writing the next chapter of the Jewish story. And I'm so grateful that you have given us the gift of inspiration and courage and blessing and a call for us to make this blessing our own. So I thank you so, so much for being here. I'm very appreciative of you. And we do what we do best. We honor you with enough food to feed an army and then some. And when we freeze some of these sweets and then we bring them out for other own eggs, we'll think of you too.
And you'll mail them to Connecticut for me too, right?
Darn right. I
Great.
will. 14 Coley Town. I'll do it. I know that address. So Shavua Tov. I hope everybody has a wonderful week. And if you're ever so inspired to help facilitate opportunities like this as a congregation, talk to me, because there are so many opportunities and possibilities for us to have weekends just as special as this one. So thank you, and by the power invested in me in the state of Alabama, go eat.
How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. כשהמים שבת אחים ואחיות שרק רוצים לחיות, להיות להבות, התקוות בעיניים פתוחות, בידיים אוהבות ומקבלות, ובידיעה שכולנו משפחה, באמונה שתוכנו יש מקום גדול לאהבה. כשהמים זורמים הם אותנו מובילים, מרומים מצבעים, כי מה שלי ומה שלך זוהי דרך חדשה, כשהשמש עולה על כולנו מהירה. אז עוד שנייה, הנה זה בא, כמו הנשמה, נשמה, נשימה. הנה, 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 אני מבקש, כך ניתן מצב רוח לעלות ונתייאש. כשהשן עליי דוהר, בוער, אני לא מהר, לא סופר על העבר, מוותר, מרגיש את הרגע, פוגע במציאות, נוגע, שופע לא קורע ותמיד יודע שאם לא נפחד, הראש יתחדד, לא ניפרד, נתאחד, כי מה שלי ומה שלך זוהי דרך חדשה, כשהשמש עולה על כולנו מהירה. אז עם הפחד בצד, שבט אחים ואחיות מאוחד. הנה, הנה, for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. שבט אחים ואחיות שרק רוצים לחיות, להיות להבות, התקוות בעיניים פתוחות, בידיים אוהבות ומקבלות, ובידיעה שכולנו משפחה, באמונה שתוכנו יש מקום גדול לאהבה. כשהמים זורמים הם אותנו מובילים, מרומים מצבעים, כי מה שלי ומה שלך זוהי דרך חדשה, כשהשמש עולה על כולנו מהירה. אז עוד שנייה, הנה זה בא, כמו הנשמה, נשמה, נשימה. הנה, הנה, אש, אני מבקש, כך ניתן מצב רוח לעלות ונתייאש. כשהשן עליי דוהר, בוער, אני לא מהר, לא סופר על העבר, מוותר, מרגיש את הרגע, פוגע במציאות, נוגע, שופע לא גורע, ותמיד יודע שאם לא נפחד, הראש יתחדד, לא ניפרד, נתאחד, כי אמא שלי ומה שלך זוהי דרך חדשה, כשהשמש עולה על כולנו מהירה, אז עם הפחד בצד, שבט אחים ואחיות מאוחד. הנה, 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 for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to come together in peace and in unity. שבט אחים ואחיות שרק רוצים לחיות, להיות להבות, התקוות בעיניים פתוחות, בידיים אוהבות ומקבלות, ובידיעה שכולנו משפחה, באמונה שתוכנו יש מקום גדול לאהבה. כשהמים זורמים הם אותנו מובילים, מרומים מצבעים, כי אמא שלי ומה שלך זוהי דרך חדשה, כשהשמש עולה על כולנו מהירה, אז עוד שנייה, הנה זה בא, כמו הנשמה, נשמה, נשימה. הנה